Welcome everybody to the Mind, Body, and Soul television show, coming to you live from our Denver, Colorado internet television studios, and we are also streaming on ConsciousEvolutionMedia.com as well as YouTube Live and Google Hangouts. And I'm your host, Coach Steve Toth, and also the founder of Conscious Evolution Media. And I'd like to introduce to you a very special guest. His name is Babaji Maharaj, and he's a celebrity guru as well as a global consultant and an author and many other things that I'm sure we're going to find out about in this upcoming hour. And he's joining us from India. Welcome to the show, Babaji.
Thank you, Steve. Hello, everyone.
I am honored to have you on the network, and I'm not going to do this any differently than I normally do. So if I took all those titles away, like celebrity guru, global consultant, author, and any other names and titles that anybody has ever called you, if I take all those away, what's left? Who is really Babaji Maharaj?
Well, titles are virtually insignificant. What is important is the essence of our being. And Babaji Maharaj is a soul like you. And in my case, and in my consciousness and destiny, my soul is called to help the humanity everywhere. And I do this in myriads of ways as I can to all persons and entities that cross my path in this dimension as well as other dimensions.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm doing something similar. I'm sure you do it at a somewhat of a higher level, but this is what makes me get up in the morning because I'm interested in touching, moving, and inspiring people in the world to come home to themselves. And I know that you had an incredible experience when you were 22, and we can go back before that if you like. But I am very interested in having you describe to our viewers what happened to you when you became a self-realized master at age 22.
Well, in this mystical sense, in this realm, when your soul awakens, that will be quite a inner revelation. And if you can imagine the 4th of July in America, where fireworks go off, if you can utilize that as a picture in your mind, in your third eye, and have an explosion of light while in a dark room, and without the use of any type of drugs, which are often utilized in some cases to give people experiences of consciousness and certain inner journeys. However, when this spectacular event of your third eye opening and what is known as Kundalini rising, this is not just an energetic experience, because we have many of those throughout our life, but this is something of a monumental event and rather spectacular, where such a divine force, which is likened to be, sometimes I call it spiritual electricity.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So the voltage in the amp accelerates somehow. It opens within the body, mind, spirit trinity. And you know, this body, mind trinity, it is in itself a holy trinity. And I feel in my soul that relationship. And of course, I've had these inner experiences, and so I understand that perspective, So essentially, we are divine beings, but in this divine state, people are likened to be asleep. You wake up, you're asleep. You're dreaming. Oh, it was just a dream. Well, your whole life actually is like that until you're like shifted into a super consciousness. We can talk about consciousness, however, the real realm that is so exciting and highly inspirational and creative and that ultimate state is super consciousness. And so this is what can happen to a soul when they're evolving on the path of their life. And in my case, it was invoked just through grace, through prayer, through meditation. It was the most shocking event of my life because I was in a mundane, ego, like an egg, like a finite egg. And then all of a sudden, the finite egg cracks, and then your soul merges into infinity. In my case, just supreme light. After that, I've had experiences. Yes, of course, I've had many visions of Jesus and Buddha, Krishna, and Shiva, and angels, and ascended masters. And there is a whole golden lineage of which I am in incarnation of. And so this is the essence of my being, is that I've come to this planet again and again and again and again and again in these various forms. And so I was in a state where I was the so-called normal citizen of the planet Earth as a young man just growing up and doing this. However, there were glimpses, there were even breakthroughs at that point, because I realized when I was a young boy, even 7, 8, when in America you could take your trash and you would burn it behind the garage in your backyard. At those times I would meditate in the fire. And for some unknown reason, I never understood why intellectually, but I would gaze into the fire and then I would create certain sounds. Well, now I realize that these sort of like tonal sounds I was making actually induce one into a trance state. And in yoga, they call these, of course, mantras. And so I was doing that, and my older brother, and this was years and years later on, at a family reunion, I saw my older brother, who's actually a priest in the Christian church. He was saying, you, as a young boy, you would do all these exercises, put your foot behind your leg and just do incredible things, and you had so much energy, and no one quite knew what you were doing, but you were doing all these positions, these exercises and things. So actually I was doing yoga from a child without having any instruction. No one else in my family, got into this Eastern thought or path. No. And I was born in a family in Monroe, Michigan, and had 3 brothers, 3 sisters. So very, very unusual circumstances, which actually were there, but didn't really seem as though they completely fit who I was, because I was quickly evolving into certain Eastern thoughts as Buddhism. So I was born, and I would go Sunday to the Baptist church, but I was more interested in reading Buddhism and Eastern thought, and also was interested in like martial arts, anything of an Eastern origin embraced and sort of had a fondness, a love, and attraction for it naturally. So my whole life has been like that.
Mm.
And it still is.
Well,
That's why I'm.
that's very fascinating. That this is what I'm hearing is this is all coming through you. It's not something that you aspired to do or searched or looked for necessarily. It just came through to you. Is that accurate?
the I believe that the search, the seeker must seek, but Steve, there's a point where the seeker must stop
Yeah.
seeking and enter the pure state of divine being. But this is very, very difficult to do. It's easy to say, but it's very difficult to actually do because the mind and the ego state constantly, spirals you almost out into the world, into
Yeah.
action.
And
And yet,
it's not easy to be a divine being with the rest of society.
well, that's very true. The elements of our civilization and society and what you might call our modern system is rather negative and based on lower self principles that are wrapped around survival, sex, money, power, and a lot of illusions. And in the Eastern sense, we call this all the play of Maya. In other words, you can get lost in that. You can get confused by it. I look around, Steve, the world, I see so many people are confused. They really don't know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And they've lost somehow that divine connection with their soul and with a sense of destiny and calling. That's why you're a beautiful person and you're doing wonderful work because you're sending out a call, a message, which is an activation. You are an activation center, station, and so this is very
I'm
good.
I'm I'm getting goosebumps, Babaji, right now, which is my indication and my flag to know who I am in the presence of.
So we're here, and our souls are on the same wavelength, and we're sending a message. Just here in Goa, it's a simple village, but it's wonderful to see the fishermen. They place the nets out in the ocean, then they gather their bounty back, the fish. Now, I'm a vegetarian, but I still enjoy seeing that for the people because God is giving them that bounty. And so it's a beautiful natural act. And then, the boatmen, the fishermen go out, and then there's such a spirit of kind of giving and so much, and it's a sign of prosperity. And this is an important element in people's lives, is that they have to keep hope. They have to, I believe, Steve, the most important thing is that one should have a vision of destiny. Yes, okay, I've had many beautiful visions, but it's important. And in some practical sense, rather than, consciousness and metaphysical sense, it's important for the soul or for every human being to have some type of a sense of purpose and meaning, but a vision of destiny. And so a lot of my work helps to attune the soul and to create, of course, metamorphosis within the body, in the mind. Because I realized, Steve, from my personal experiences, that one could go through rapid transformation that was even, it was beyond the norm. And I'll just say that I witnessed that in my life, and then I began experimenting years ago with very advanced yoga, meditation techniques, and then by energetically, where I would infuse a lot of divine energy, which is known in the Eastern terms as Shakti. Shakti means divine power or a transference of energy from one source to another. It's likened even in the Olympics, in that where they pass that torch of light. This torch of light is actually an initiation, a transference. And so often in various lineages, one master transfers his energy, his divine power and wisdom to another, or to any and all students in various ways that he or she is working with. And so people come to me, you know, and enjoy certain retreats. Like I'm looking forward to the retreat that I have coming up in Big Sur, California, because I've worked in that area for many years, and yet it's been quite a while since I've come back into the LA or San Francisco area. But rather than being in the cities per se, Steve, because they do have a density to them, I like to be in nature places, which
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, Babaji, but your audio and video froze on one of my screen here, so uh, just want to remind everybody that this broadcast is coming to you from Denver, Colorado, as well as from India. So it's not surprising me that we may have a technical issue. Babaji, are you there? Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I don't even know if he can hear me. Um, the um, the video froze on their end. Okay. Technology is like humanity. It's not perfect. I was looking so much forward to this dialogue because he's a very unique man, and yeah, he just dropped off. So maybe they'll come back in. Hopefully they will. I'm gonna go ahead and invite him back in one more time here. Here we go. So hopefully he'll come back. If not, I'm afraid we'll have to reschedule this show and do it at another time. And I believe in India it's probably very early Saturday morning. So we were actually, while I'm waiting a few more minutes, we were having a dialogue with Babaji Maharaj, who is a celebrity guru as well as a global consultant and an author of many books, and he was joining us from India. And he worked with a lot of celebrities and still does, including Robin Williams, which who actually recently just passed away, and I was curious, and I was going to ask him if he would be willing to share something about his work with Robin Williams. And well, he's not coming back. So let me see if I can reach him or reach them on Skype, or maybe my assistant could, and see if their internet is actually completely down, or is it still up, or they just had a temporary problem. So let me see. Okay, so I'm just asking to see if they can come back in. Looks like their internet is up because Skype is working. So, but I'm not getting a response. So let's see. What else can I tell you about Babaji? Well, he's a self-realized master at age 22. He had an incredible experience that he was describing on the show earlier. And of course, I will. I'm just babbling here, just to kill some time. I will edit this out from the replay, but I'm not getting any response from them, so I don't know what's going on. All right. Let me try something different. Hi there, Babaji. Are you there? You froze. You need to come back into the studio, and I can edit this, stuff out because I was just babbling just to kill some time. It doesn't let you? Okay. Let me send you another invitation. I can hear myself there, so is it showing up at all? The invitation? You may want to close the browser and start over. My dog wants to get into the action. Maybe we should connect my dog and your chicken, and let them do a show, an intermission while we're trying to figure this out. Pardon me? A rooster. Mm-hmm. And if you don't see it, I can always email you one. You can get to the. Can you get to the email from that? Oh, you got it. Okay. There you are. Okay.
Yeah. Let me-
Okay.
All right, good.
Amazing how this works. When we don't panic. Okay. 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 We're back. So I'll just edit this out from the show. So on the replay it will be continuous and natural, like nothing happened.
Steve, what happens when people shut down? Remember what we were talking about? The
Mm-hmm.
heart center, and people have a circumstance and shut down. Look how right at that point we were discussing that, and how the whole flow was broken there.
Yeah.
So imagine we saw what a problem, what a change it did. The break in the connection from the whole wonderful through the technology. But now, what happens with these chakra points when they're fully open and then closed down? Again, they are like flowers of light and energy that are functioning in such a way. And when you get into very attuned consciousness states, you can see these chakra points, although most people cannot see them and see the elements of the astral body and the auric field.
Yeah,
So,
I certainly haven't had that experience myself, but the the biggest experience that I've had that I wanted to ask you about anyway. It happened last year, and I've been in the personal development uh, industry and conversation for well over 3 decades, and everybody always talked to me about and advised me about quieting my mind, and I could never do it. And finally, last year, uh, for no apparent reason, it's like my experience was similar to yours, that I wasn't inviting it. It's just all of a sudden happened that my mind went completely blank, meaning that I could completely be in the present moment, and the conversation that used to be in my head were gone, and I was completely at an amaze, and I experienced incredible joy, and people were relating to me differently, and it lasted for about 2 weeks. And when I asked, and I was concerned towards the end of the 2 weeks, how long can this last, and what's going on? It stopped, and ever since then, what I've been able to do is I've been able to manage. Like, for example, right now, as I'm connected with you, Babaji, and talking with you, I am able to turn that volume down, and I don't have the conversation. But it does come back
right, right.
when I'm not paying attention or I'm out in the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Well,
what
these are
would you
like,
relate this to, this
yeah, these
experience?
are like delicate channels. But the thing is, as one has a remote, you see, and then turns it on a TV, you actually somehow do this, Steve, within the third eye, within these higher chakra points, and then the whole combination of your psychic centers. And so this, of course, then morphs the wave and the frequency that you attune to and gives you these higher transcendent states. Like you had this glimpse of that blissful presence just of your being in relationship to a higher plane, or what people call the divine source or God. And so this is beautiful. And the idea is once you have that, you can always go there. Sometimes people wrongly think, oh, I had the experience and now I lost it forever.
Hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Wherever you evolve to, as a soul, you will return to this peak point, no matter if you rise up and then even fall down into, sometimes people fall down into a very dark, lower dimension for them the rest of their life. But the idea is, after having that glimpse of being, of that inner peace, it's something that you should simply allow yourself without trying, because the greatest meditations are actually effortless, to where you're not meditating per se, but to where the trance state or the shift in consciousness takes place, and then you sort of go with it, you flow with it, you catch it. It is like a wave of consciousness. You just ride it.
That's very accurate. Yeah, you're putting it in beautiful words. That is the experience that I'm having, and I don't do the things that I used to do, like sit down and put my legs in a certain position and meditate and do this. I don't do any of that stuff. It just my beingness kind of takes care of it. Like you said, I'm riding the wave. It's beautiful. It's an incredible experience. And I'm having challenges. And I wanted to ask you this: I'm having challenges. I'm having all kinds of experiences of a spiritual nature, and I'm having challenges looking for or describing it, because there are no words. I don't have words from the English language. It's very similar to I try to do a special show, actually a series for Hungary, because I was born in Hungary and I still speak the language, but I couldn't do it because the words that I'm even using with you right now, in my vocabulary, because I've been gone for so long, they don't exist.
Very good, because the idea is that you're talking about going beyond thought, Steve, and beyond words, because words are part of more the intellectual structure of mind, which is good. Yes, be educated. One should educate themselves and empower themselves. But wait, empower yourself truly with soul, with intuition, with love, with being receptive and open in that flow of the Holy Trinity of your body, mind, and soul to the Holy Trinity of God. In the East, they call it Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, creator, sustainer, destroyer. So really, our body, our mind, our soul is one or part of that play of the creation and the sustainer and then the destroyer. And so your blockages, your somehow words in the entanglement, that web of consciousness that can hold you and hold you forever like a spider web, you have to break free. You have to break out of. And once you do, the experience of it is euphoric. Don't try to describe it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's just a little funky, Babaji, because I'm in broadcasting, and I I have to speak about these things because that's what I do, and I'm looking for an alternative way, maybe to communicate. Maybe my future is in telepathy.
Yes.
Yeah, who knows? Very interesting. So I noticed that you worked with and probably continuously working with celebrities. We have had a lot of celebrities on this network in the last 10 plus years, and of course, who came to mind is Robin Williams, because he just as you know just passed away. But he was I loved Robin Williams. I mean, he has made me laugh so much in my life, and I love to laugh. And I'm wondering if there's anything you can share, and that may be yes or no. It's really up to you about your relationship or experience with Robin Williams.
Well, I can tell you, Robin I met in Miami Beach, probably back in, I think it was around 1999 or right at the turn of the millennium. And he was doing a movie down there, and I had the good fortune to be invited to his birthday party and to meet him and talk with him and get into a bit of a counseling type of situation with him, as I have with many people. And all I'll say is that out of all these celebrities, actors, actresses that I've met, Robin was the most genuine, heart-centered, and open. And at that time, he did confide in me that he was doing certain kind of metaphysical pursuits. He was a seeker, I'll say that. He was a spiritual seeker, and he was really a great person. I really enjoyed just that contact, and that I have a very, very fond, memory of him. And there is a situation where a soul feels chained somehow to circumstances, and to where you mentioned, Steve, about the heart, because I have actually energetically diagnosed people who have any type of suicide tendencies, and this is when they are taking in too much dark energy into the heart center. This is what drives people out of their body like that. So I would suggest to all your viewers and their friends that, again, that as you yourself said, it's so important to make this divine connection and to keep our heart energy filled with light, because there is a play of light and darkness in this universe. And ourselves, we are constantly, it's an alchemical, energetic scenario with this interplay of light and darkness. And because there are times, and it would take more description, because these are cosmic cycles and certain energetics, which sets up a scenario. Sometimes I've noted it in my writings and teachings that the soul goes through sometimes a period which is known as the dark night of the soul. This dark night of the soul does not refer to necessarily one night, and now that can happen to anyone. And sometimes we think that someone, who's successful or creative or has a lot of wealth is a perfect being. No, they're not necessarily a perfect being, and they're not necessarily a happy being. And Robin, and often a lot of people who are in the comedic field, they personify the happy, sad clown. And so there was a shadow that I feel that Robin was dealing with, and it somehow did engulf him at that point. But the idea is that, the soul wants to leave the body, and of course we should allow nature to process our soul out of the body. But when we have too much pain, because Robin was a Cancer, he was a very emotional personality. And by virtue of our being, it doesn't matter our astrological sign or if we're male or female, because I don't believe for a second that women are emotional and that men are like Superman, man of steel. No, I don't believe that at all. We are souls, and so we have, again, a sensitivity, and we are very, very delicate. I mean, Steve, look at your skin and then try to measure it. It's so, your skin is so thin, it can, be punctured. Well, scars on the skin can heal, but these emotional and energetic scars, I've come to realize through the healing work that I evolved, because I do what's called Shakti healing. And so at my actual retreats, like in Big Sur coming up, in October, I do super yoga, the highest advanced techniques of yoga, meditation, but also healing, because I know people need to understand certain principles and to let go of certain energetic baggage that they carry. Because if you try dragging too much of that around, it will take you down. It really will. And so it's, again, a process that you have to empty and to let go of this. And even people who think that they're doing certain spiritual practices and they're letting go of it, they still hold on to it and often trap it onto a subconscious and energetic level that's completely out of their sight. I've dealt with thousands of cases, and I've seen this time and time again, and can show anyone at any time a personal demonstration how they're doing it. It's rather eye-opening. It really is. So.
Would you agree that really what humanity's growth and evolution right now is really about developing their frontal lobe, and I believe you refer to it as the third eye, because I don't think that we're going to be changing physically in our physical manifestation anytime soon. We're not going to have 2 more fingers and 2 more hands or anything like that. But maybe I could be proven wrong, but but I don't think so. So what there is to do for us, because we've been doing this stuff. I mean, all these wars and things like that are going on right now. We've been doing this for ever since we've been around, and I'm personally kind of tired of it. But obviously, a lot of other humans are not. They're still engaging in it. And we already know, you're not going to get anything out of it, really. And what I'm interested in is how can we help people? And I know yoga is one of the answers, but how can we help people to understand that living through the reptilian brain is really no longer a good option. I mean, it is an option, but it's not a good option. We need to focus on our evolution, because otherwise, if we don't, we might just be erased. Things are not going too well, Babaji, out there.
Yes, I understand the situation, and like I said, this is why we should send a higher beam of energy on a daily basis. You can pray, you can meditate, but the idea is that understanding, okay, that you do have these various, let's say, chakra points, like you said, the heart. If the humanity was all projecting from the heart center as though that was the base of a pyramid of consciousness in our civilization, then there would be absolutely no wars. There would be no wars that you experience today. But the problem is that people are still in what is known the third level matrix of consciousness, where there's power and conflict. The third chakra is called Nabi, or it has these things have actually multiple names. It's very confusing, but we'll just call it power center. Okay, so this, this power sense is involves a certain ego gratification. And as you know, some people are quite masters at it.
Oh yeah, very good at it. Yeah, I call it confusion, manipulation, fear, and force.
Yes, yes.
And they have mastered, just like you have mastered yoga. They have mastered and became very good at what they do, which
Yes,
is they thrive on confusion, force, manipulation, and fear.
right, right. So the idea is the antidote to that is this relationship with your being. If you and I create this heart-centered, this harmonic center, it's not a harmonic convergence, but it is on a personal level. We don't wait till a Mayan time date of 2012 or anything else, but it's a daily harmonic center to where we come into our being, and then we, instead of looking out at the reality and mirroring the negativity, instead, let's try to shield ourselves from that, and let's try to create a more powerful and positive divine shield that radiates out a higher self-frequency to where illumination, inspiration, cooperation, harmony, love, understanding, creativity, a new world can take birth. And it really can. I believe that it can.
Yeah, I believe it also. And I know that this is a very good segue to go into the next area that I wanted to have a dialogue with you about, which is I realized 2 years ago that and consciousness was and the pursuit of consciousness and evolution was number one for me. And that has been replaced now with health and wellness, because I realized that if I'm not well, and it doesn't matter how conscious I am, I won't be here much longer. And I think it's a way we can get a lot of people's attention, because humanity, especially here in this country, they are in deep doo-doo. Everywhere I turn, Babaji, and I know you know this, people are not realizing what they're eating. They don't understand, and a lot of this is education, and there's probably more to it, which I want to talk to you about. They don't realize that what they're putting in their bodies are toxic, and people are not in control. They just kind of give themselves to their circumstances. Like they think that, like 2 years ago when I realized this, I stopped going to fast food restaurants because it's not in my interest. I get it. Once you know that that's not good for you, when you awaken conscious, you don't do it anymore. That's my experience. And you probably hear some frustration from me, because I am a little bit frustrated that people are so ignorant about this, and they rather put their money into healthcare and into drugs and into pills, and we have this money-hungry society where the pharmaceuticals actually are interested and very much motivated to keep people sick. They're not interested in healing anybody, because if we're healed, if we're no longer sick, billions of dollars are not going to be flowing through their fingers. So we're in an interesting predicament here.
And pharmaceuticals and doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, one can experience literally perfect health and probably sustain that your whole existence, and perhaps even live to 100. You know, I'm a big believer that
Yeah.
one can
Or 200.
live an excellent life. And the idea is diet is perhaps more important, Steve, than even genetic factors. And I'm going to say that again. You may think, oh, okay, well, like I know one lady who was afraid when she hit like 55 because her mother died at 55. And so she was fearful. But then 55 came, she didn't die, and she was quite happy, and then started to lose weight and even maybe before that regenerate herself, use dietary measures to, because if you have more weight on your body, it taxes your whole heart, of course, and your whole system. So one tries to work and achieve some type of health and balance between this body, mind, and soul. It's like a globe. It's like a globe, an interdimensional globe of light and energy, consciousness, and creativity that's there. And you can shape that, so, and change certain factors. So the idea is, in my teaching, is that I'm really big on suggesting and even showing people how they can integrate a process of eating not just good foods, but even eating superfoods, which means a special kind of almonds and walnuts are superfoods. Peanuts are nuts, and you could eat them. However, the quality of eating peanuts and the return is much less, because peanuts will not stimulate like your brain. You mentioned frontal lobe and evolutionary development. Well, if people eat walnuts, it would make them more, efficient in the brain, and other types of superfoods. If they eat lower density foods, it creates too much fatty tissue in the brain and makes the whole neural passages and the whole workings of the brain chemistry slower or sluggish, or even you could use the word retarded. Because by practicing certain techniques and then also diet, you can take a person who's even a slow being. Once I worked in a special school and had people who were supposedly slow children. By teaching them brain balance techniques, and even by just giving them certain kind of sense of confidence and belief in themselves, they were able to surpass and to achieve, much greater improvement. To where I remember just bumping into the father of this young girl, teenage girl that I worked with in the school, and he thanked me profusely, for helping his daughter. So there are techniques, and there are, teachings and diet which create significant, I mean, immediate benefits and results. But you have to understand what these are. You can't just buy the latest self-help book. You pick it up and look at it, and then you put it on the shelf and forget about it, and then you continue life in the same way. You have to. That's what people do. Yeah.
I haven't read a self improvement book for the last 10 years. I stopped all that 10 years ago, but I used to be a junkie. I must admit.
But so one has to integrate, and it's not about going on a good diet because it's a religious festival, or you do it because it's Happy New Year and you make the vow, and you maybe do it a few days there, and then you go back to the same way. You have to make permanent transformational changes which are going to support a more positive future in health and wellness. And so this is the program that I offer. So a person comes on a 4-day retreat. You can learn yoga, meditation, healing techniques, and even elements of a superfood diet, and then you integrate that. And we
Yeah.
even have a program where we can, monitor the person for the 40 days when they go home, make sure that they're maintaining those improvements with just simple check-ins, because people need that kind of support system.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can our viewers go to get more information about, for example, the Big Sur event that you're going to be doing? And you might want to mention some others that are coming up.
Well, they can, your people in the community can contact me at the omatrixcenter.com. Just please email me with your comments and those that have interest of the retreats that I'm offering, and also online educational programs that I'm setting in motion right at this moment. So I work a lot through the internet because I believe in that technology. It can help to connect me to people everywhere in the world. And this has been a great event. It's been wonderful just checking in with you and seeing how the Denver community is doing at this time. And so I look forward to that, and to, like I said, coming back to California, my old circuit, and seeing some of perhaps my old friends are beginning to contact me, and that I've worked with in the past, and opening up to new friendships and connections. In the Big Sur, I love that Big Sur area because there's so much prana, so much energy, like we talked about before, like catching the wave a person has to, to take that opportunity. And I really found, Steve, that helping people to integrate, like you were saying, whether it's these dietary improvements that a person needs, that a retreat is an excellent way because it takes you out of your normal existence. And so you can pick up some teachings, you can have a change, you can take a deep breath for sure, you can have a wonderful vacation, but it becomes a vacation that rejuvenates you, that gives you, it helps you to focus again on your vision of the future and help you out in that way. So.
Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing that, Balaji. Earlier in the show, you mentioned Superhuman, and I'm very curious. I know you've written a book about the 21st century superhuman. Would you be willing to expand on that a little bit?
This frontal lobe, I believe that there will be that there has been in the past, perhaps even thousands of years ago, that there were certain masters or certain evolutionary changes where certain people peaked out in these higher states of consciousness. Now, for whatever reason, and I won't really go into it at this point, that may have not been lost, but we may have changed into a different cycle and yet be coming again around. And so I believe that people can progress into higher states of consciousness and to where a superhuman, where we think that of our normal destiny power, our normal energetic, our normal brain power, our normal lifespan being, 60, 80 years. Wait a second. Probably you're normal to my sense, but my barometer is a cosmic one. And so I believe that your brain power can be, much more, not 8, 10%, but can become even 20, 30, 40, 60, 80%, that your lifespan can be not 60, 80 years, but what about 160? What about even 280 years? I mean, that sounds like a long time. It's not a long time, it's a short time, because it's just blink, blink in eternity.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
One blink in eternity, and there's your life. How about blink, blink, blink? That's 300 years. And so I think that we will, achieve this. Now, certain people, utilize certain alchemy, or there are certain ways that we can even code the cellular structure of our body. There are certain practices that I do and that I'm aware of that regenerates me.
Mhm.
I may teach some advanced students these practices, which there are different ways to extend the lifeline. And so I will say that in certain scenarios, the one is by taking the hand and doing something. I'll just give a hint. If anyone cares to try to figure it out or to explore it, by taking the hand and then doing some type of an action, but you have to be very, very careful if you even understand the formula. Because if you do it, you can draw negative karma to you if you do that in a master or a guide sense. So I would first of all be very, very careful tampering, but it's the possibility of this superhuman evolution. It's coming. It's already there. We see elements of it, but a lot of it looks, and it is distorted at the moment, but it will, just like the rays of the sunlight, be peek through the clouds. And so people may change into where the frontal lobe and the skull and the brain mass can change in the future, and most likely will, Steve. You're correct about that.
That's fantastic and good news. I aspire to become one of these superhumans.
You're on the path.
I got work to do. Okay. Well, that was really fascinating information that you were sharing. And as you're describing these retreats, I believe that the people there are being called, because that's again my experience is we are putting out these broadcasts, and people really I kind of let go of the expectation, Babaji, that I'm going to be transforming everybody that's watching. I kind of let all that go, and I have a different understanding now, which is there's always going to be somebody that's watching these broadcasts that are ready in time and space. And I have also kind of proven through these shows that, and I don't know if you noticed, but I don't wear a watch. I have no use. I haven't had any use for a watch for the last 10 years, other than the only reason I keep track of time is for appointments and for these broadcasts. Other than that, I have zero use for a watch.
Right.
So I lock them away. I don't use them anymore. But these shows, and I just had this experience. I had so much more that I wanted to explore with you, but our time is already over. And it's just another proof that when we having a conscious dialogue, a conscious conversation, and we're connected to each other like the way you and I have been, that time disappears. Do you have that experience?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like we could believe that the hour is gone. And people come to me and wonder, you're gonna be interviewing me for a whole hour? How is that gonna go? That seems like a lot of time. I says, not really. That's just that teeny bit of time.
The hour is here. The hour of power is here for your viewers to reach out into the eternity of their soul and to take some right action. This is known as Dharma, to take the right path to improve their lives and to help evolve the whole planet. And every being out there, as we know, that just creates even what they may feel is an insignificant shift of their consciousness. Actually, it's not. It's everything is a ripple on the cosmic sea of consciousness. And so every wave, every bubble, every being creates this evolutionary spiral. So please be aware of that. Please love yourself. Please liberate yourself from the spider web of the past. You can break free and get into that ecstatic flow of your higher self in being. And thank you, Steve. And I say, Om Shanti Shanti, Alaka Mahalakshmi. Peace and prosperity to you and to all beings. Soham.
Thank you, Babaji. Fantastic hour to spend with such a great man. So thank you so much to Babaji and to everybody that made this broadcast happen. If Babaji and myself has touched, moved, and inspired you, please continue to come to consciousrevolutionmedia.com and also take up Babaji on his offer to contact him on his website, and he mentioned that earlier, and that website address will be on our website as well. So you have now access to a great teacher. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful Friday evening, and a great weekend. And we'll see you next week on the next edition of the Mind, Body, and Soul TV. Thank you all, and I love you all, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.